Celtic will travel to Germany to take on Borussia Dortmund. In addition, the Boys will also later host Leipzig in the newly formatted Champions League. The Boys have previously faced various German sides in European competition. This includes twice losing to Dortmund in the 80s and 90s. Older Celtic fans will have better memories of playing Stuttgart in the run to the 2003 UEFA Cup final, or the excitement of overturning a 2-0 deficit versus Cologne in 1992. But Celtic's German links go back even further than this, with the Hoops' first journey taking place almost 120 years ago. In 1906, 2 years after the club's first continental trip, Celtic took part in a European tour, going to Germany, Austria, Bohemia and Hungary. This was the first time that Europeans would see what are now the world-famous Hoops. Celtic's previous continental tour had been in May 1904, but the club did not introduce hoops to their strips until August of that same year. Celtic made the journey as Scottish champions, having secured the 1905-06 title. This was the second of what would eventually become 6 titles in a row, then a world record. This was also a record that stood in Scotland until Celtic eclipsed this in the 1970s during the 9-in-a-row run. Celtic had recently completed a tour of the north of Scotland, and there was rumours that the European tour was about to be cancelled. Shortly before the players were due to actually travel, they were still unaware of the travel arrangements. However, finally telegrams were sent to the team telling them to pack and be ready to leave that evening. The Celts finally left Scotland on the evening of Friday the 18th of May, travelling by train and boat to get to Germany. In the travelling party, as well as those men that had represented the Boys throughout the season, were some new signings, including forward Bobby Templeton. Celtic's first stop in Germany was Hamburg, and then, on the 24th of May 1906, the Boys played their opening match. An incredibly one-sided game, Celtic hammered this season's opponents, VfB Leipzig, by 9-1. The tour was off to a very successful start. Celtic's second and final stop in Germany took them to the country's capital city. On the 26th of May 1906, playing against Berliner Victory, it was another comfortable win for the Scots, this time with a 4-1 margin. On departing Germany, the Boys headed to Austria, going to the capital city of Vienna. On the 27th of May 1906, Celtic's successful record continued against Wiener Ramblers. The Glasgow men claimed a 7-0 victory. Celtic's Austrian visit in fact lasted for only one game, and then the Boys headed to Bohemia, which later became part of Czechoslovakia. On the 29th of May 1906, the Scotsmen drew 3-3 with Slavia Prague, who were ran by former Celt Johnny Madden. He has a major place in Celtic's history, being centre forward in the club's first ever game, and also part of many of the club's maiden celebrations, including the First League title. Madden is a legendary figure in Czech football, considered by many to be the father of football in that region, based on his experience managing club and international sides. The next day, on the 30th of May 1906, Celtic faced an unusual opponent given their location. Despite being in Prague, the Boys lined up against Newcastle United, who were also touring the continent, and this game ended in a 2-2 draw. The destination for Celtic's final 2 games was Budapest in Hungary. On the 3rd of May 1906, Celtic hammered local team Magyar Budapest by 8-1. The next day, Celtic also overcame Southampton, who were also on a tour of Europe, this time winning 1-0. Although the Celts were away, there was plenty of events at home to keep up fan interest, especially it was as difficult to find out details of the tour. Sports fans could still go to Celtic Park at this time, as there were numerous athletics and cycling events being held at the Boys' ground while the club toured the continent. However, the timing of the trip also included one especially sad event. When Celtic were abroad, John Glass died in Saltcoats. Glass was Celtic's former president and also a former president of the Glasgow Football Association, and he was one of the club's most significant ever figures, arguably second only to brother Walfred in his efforts to set up the new team. Whilst Walfred provided much of the energy that drove Celtic's early years, it was John Glass who brought the business expertise and organisation that truly helped the club's rise to prominence. Celtic's 1906 record in Germany was played 2 games, won 2 games, 13 goals scored and only 2 conceded. The overall record was played 7 games, winning 5 and drawing 2, and not losing at any point. It would be a great achievement if Celtic could do something similar when facing both of their German opponents this season. If you want to learn more about Celtic history, follow Hail Hail History on Twitter X, or you can take part in a free Celtic history walk. Visit celticwalkingtours.wordpress.com to find out more.